Good evening and welcome to Resource PNG. On tonight's lineup, we talk to the European Union and we feature a report on oil search, MRA and small-scale mining in PNG. The European Union continues to maintain strong political and economic ties with PNG, PNG being one of the biggest recipients of EU funding in the Pacific region. His first official visit to the country, Resource PNG had a chance to catch up with the European Commissioner for Development, Mr. Andwais Peebags. Commissioner, I understand this is your first time in Papua New Guinea. Can you tell us the purpose of your visit here?
Well, the main reason is definitely to check how our development programs are working and also to prepare for next 7 years because we have 7-year budget cycle. I know now that we will have roughly 80% more, so our program for these 7 years will go more than 180 million euros, so it's roughly 600 million kina. And we need to know where to invest to get the best possible result.
Commissioner, can you describe the European Union's political and economic relations with Papua New Guinea at this time?
Well, it is rather broad. I think, first of all, it is definitely still very much focused on fight against poverty and support Papua New Guinean people. I think that's the first aspect. But there are two others very important. PNG now is becoming a major producer of liquid natural gas. So it is getting more supply of energy markets, and gas is also a good fuel fighting climate change. So I think that is a trade aspect in broader sense, and we are also the second export market for PNG. So it's quite important part economically. And third is definitely political partnership, because now the world has to discuss a lot of very important dossiers. It is a global climate change, fight against climate change agreement. There is a global development goals after post-2015. And there is a lot of challenges in the world, and not least now in Europe with Ukraine crisis. So I think these three major blocks makes our relationship.
PNG would be the biggest recipient of European Union aid. Can you give us your view on the evolution of the political and development aid relationship between the EU and PNG?
Well, to be correct, PNG is not the biggest recipient. It is in Pacific, it's definitely the biggest. It's also the biggest countries, it's also true. Per capita, it will not be, because our main focus is definitely on African countries, because with due respect of poverty in PNG, in a lot of African countries, situation is by far more difficult, especially in Sahel zone. What we try to now address very much three major areas. And I could also to witness myself. One is support rural development. It is infrastructure, because with absence of the roads, access to energy, people basically are pushed in a situation where the expectations are not met. So that means people will get angry, I believe, because they have mobile phones. They are connected to the world. They know how people live in the world. And if there is no road where they could bring their products to the market, definitely is not acceptable today. And major part will go exactly in this area. Second area, we will continue to work with water and sanitation, because we have good experience. And access to drinking water, to sanitation is very crucial, I think, also for health reason, for any other reason. And third is education. Until now, we very much supported teacher training, and that made me very happy. But government now likes us to be more challenging at vocational and technical education. And we will continue to discuss, because to go in this area, we need very active participation for employers. Because without employers, you can't build good vocational and training education. So we will continue consultation, and if it will not be successful, I would prefer to stay with teacher training, because it is crucially also necessary. And I believe that we will have now the three major blocks, and we are now working with government to identify the goals, but I believe we have well chosen these areas.
Commissioner, you mentioned the teacher training program. What are some other financing agreements that the European Union has signed with PNG?
Well, we have signed three financial agreements from current program. One is for teacher training expanding, one is also rural development, and one is more broader human resource development. So it's overall for more than 60 million euros, so it's roughly 200 million kina, and it's engaging the money in the areas we have discussed before. So I think it is like also preparing the next wave of the program, because basically it goes in the same directions we would like to the next 7 years, but already starting now in some areas to starting to work, and we could expand our activities.
I understand the EU is more focused on funding rural programs, and you've traveled quite a bit around PNG, and you've seen firsthand where PNG is lacking in terms of infrastructure in the rural areas. Commissioner, can you comment on this?
Yeah, usually people see urban development as a problem, but urban development has more resilience, and definitely government focus is always more on urban. And rural areas are expensive infrastructure, and usually it comes late. And I have been in the Mount Wilhelm area, and there is no even good road for tourists to access Mount Wilhelm. There are people working hard to produce fruits and vegetables, but they can't get to markets. So it is really an enormous challenge in rural infrastructure. And at the same time, you see there is a river that could produce cheap hydropower. You see also the road, locals are ready to work. So you can create a system of maintenance of roads, use local communities, they will be paid, and they could keep up roads. So it is initial investments that necessary, and I believe that all the development donors would be well advised to support rural infrastructure, because it will change completely history of the country, because people will be more happy where they live now. They would not try necessarily to go to big cities, try to find a job, because they could really work and be prosperous also in the rural neighborhoods, because people are hardworking and they can't make from their own money the infrastructure necessary. And it's not very expensive infrastructure.
Commissioner, our viewers would like to know your opinion on the human rights issue in PNG.
Well, we always follow human rights issues, and we will have now political dialogue here also. Our political responsibles for political dialogue are here. And it is definitely, we need to see dynamic. For me, I think definitely the main issues that need to be addressed is women rights in society, starting from education, employment, political participation. They learned only 3 women in parliament. That definitely makes the indication. It's not necessarily that there will be more women in parliament than men, but I think it is definitely the main issue that it's important to look really women's role in the society. But there are some other issues that we will discuss in political dialogue. But it's important, I think, to emphasize that it should be open and political and frank dialogue. And I think our intention is really not to criticize, but really to support, to draw attention to the issues that, in our opinion, government should make.
Where does the EU stand on the issue of climate change and how it affects Pacific Island nations?
Coming here, I visited Tuvalu and I visited Kiribati, and you clearly see that any sea rise basically wipes out the nations, so they can't stand any more impact on climate change. And for me, it is very crucial that there is binding climate change agreement. EU Commission has, my body has proposed that the EU should cut 40% less CO2 emissions by 2030. So EU is very ambitious really to move to this 2 degrees goal, but we should understand that it's possible if all industrialized nations could agree. And for us, it's very important to partner with the most affected countries that are as ambitious to get binding agreement. So I believe that with Papua New Guinea, but also in other countries from Pacific, it's crucial to find the frank platform that at the end of this year and next year in Paris, we have the agreement everybody would like to have.
More of this interview after the break. Welcome back. The European Union has signed 3 financing agreements with PNG, totaling approximately 200 million kina. These agreements focus on teacher training, rural development and human resources. As we continue our interview with the European Union Commissioner for Development, Under ISP Bags, we get his views on PNG's efforts towards sustainable governance. British think tank Chatham House recently called on PNG to improve its forest governance by partnering with Europe. Commissioner, did this topic arise as any of your discussions with the Prime Minister or Cabinet Ministers for that matter? And what's your opinion on the issue?
Definitely, resource issue is very crucial, and I am very glad that government adopted now new strategy, sustainable. So that means also sustainable forest management. Whereas the EU is good in this respect because we really accept certified products in the market, and we have a program called FLAG that supports also governance of the forestry, because it's a huge resource, but at the same time it could disappear. And also in the country like Papua New Guinea, there is a problem with rains and landslides, and I have seen with my own eyes that the landslides that was provoked, that there was no many more trees. So you can clearly see the connection, and we will continue to work with government really to support this sustainability strategy and also sustainable forest management. So it needs to find the balance to use the resource, but not to the expense of less security for the people and less prosperity for the next generations.
Speaking of sustainability, the Minister for National Planning and Monitoring accompanied you last week while hoisting the EU flag. Now, I'm sure you're aware of the national strategy that he recently launched that's focusing on introducing a paradigm shift in PNG by converting our economy to focus more on conservation rather than extraction. Commissioner, what do you think about the strategy?
I think it is a great strategy. I think it's important the government see not only the growth dimension, because growth is crucially important for PNG, more than for any other country, I would say, in the world. Definitely growth creates wealth. But with the growth creation, it is important not to forget that you continue to live in the country, that you would like to preserve it is not intact, but clean and sustainable for the next generations. And I think you can manage both aspects at the same time. It's not true that no nations is not possible to do it. I have seen Taiwan at the early stages of race, and I saw the pollution, and then definitely they have cleaned up. But it's the best strategy to develop at the same pace everything. And I think also where PNG definitely gains today is by far better technologies for drilling or exploring gas. Definitely better technologies. By far better technologies to use natural resources. By far better technologies to use renewable energy sources. So there are technologies to support this strategy. And now it's important that all government ministers really work under this strategy, because each area has some responsibility. I would just mention education. It will not help for big plans if children would not like really to preserve environment. It will not help if the rubbish will continue to be collected on the boards of the roads. But I saw a different attitude. When I was going to Mount Wilhelm, the guide that was leading me, he saw some rubbish in front, and he collected it. So it's different attitude, because it's not big rubbish, but it was just one paper, and he collected it because he would like to keep this area completely clean for himself, but also for tourists, because only then you can really enjoy the environment if it is clean and unspoiled. And I think that is also crucial, that all ministers in the government very much support this strategy with really strong work.
But how do you think PNG's economy would cope, considering it's so heavily reliant on the extractive industry?
Well, extractive industry is definitely something very good, in my opinion, but it's always challenged how to manage resources. There are practices that I believe has been successful. Let's take Norway and its oil wells practice. It has some side effects, but it definitely is a good experience to use it. There is also newest experience from one of developing countries, Timor-Leste, who also used a bit of Norwegian example, but in different circumstances. So I think that is important to see. But for the country's economy, for job creation, I think there are a couple of areas definitely need to focus. One, I already spoke, is rural development. Because country has already now a good producer of coffee and can expand its market. Country has enormous potential, I think, also for growing fruits, vegetables, provided that there is necessary infrastructure and support for rural areas. And I think that's where part of the strategy is. And then is definitely services, because a lot of economy today is decided by services. For creation of services, is definitely education that matters. So I think government is rightly saying that priority is education. In my opinion, the most important is not immediately to create all the chains of education, but really focus on good quality primary education. Because if all kids in PNG would have good primary education, and there will be other steps, they will cope in the life. And I think one of the advantages your country has, even in this mountainous region, a lot of people speak perfect English. It's not many countries where people speak, well, basically three languages. They speak their native language, they speak English, and then it's PNG English. Yeah, that is another language. So it's a unique opportunity. So people are very capable, actually, but there is not been sufficient investment in primary education. So I think still primary education, good quality primary, should be a very important goal.
Commissioner, how do you think PNG would fare in terms of participating in providing carbon credits and clean energy to the rest of the world?
That is, I think, is a big advantage. Government is very much looking in it. It is, here I would say there needs two to tango, because PNG government is very much active to use these credits really to support the global climate change goals. But I think UN system should also provide for the schemes that are more easier to apply. My previous dossier was very much related to energy, and I know how difficult sometimes was to use these systems that have been created, because they are rather heavy built. And I think they should be built by far easier, because only then countries could profit, because that also attracts investments. That, I think, is the beauty of the scheme, because the companies comes and definitely that creates jobs, and that makes development by faster, just as it would be done by resources from the development partners. So I think it is good endeavor, but it's important that everybody supports this. It's not only PNG governments that could make these schemes successful.
Commissioner, thank you very much for your time, and we wish you a pleasant trip back home.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here.
Coming up on the show, we feature Oil Search. You're with Resource PNG. We now take a look at this report highlighting the efforts of Oil Search Limited in the tax credit scheme. Landowners for resource communities in Hela and Southern Highlands can now rejoice with the commitment by 3 landowner companies in partnership with Oil Search on the construction of a road from Komo to Ajakaiba in Hela province. The road is funded by the national government under the tax credit scheme administered by Oil Search Limited. The MOU signed on Thursday, 24th April 2014, details how Mananda Umbrella Joint Venture Limited, Hides Gas Development Corporation Limited, and Kutmore Limited companies will pool their technical, management and equipment resources in order to carry out this construction contract to be issued by Oil Search. Work on the 13-kilometer road, which will follow the route of an old Kiap track, will be constructed as a Department of Works Rural Class 3 road. Is expected to commence in the second quarter of 2014. The Department of Works is expected to second a civil engineer to work with the construction team also. The original state commitment to provide road access to rural village communities in this part of the highlands was originally made in March 2006 by Sir Moi Ave, then Deputy Prime Minister and Department of Petroleum and Energy Minister.
Basically, what we put together is an MOU between 3 companies. We are doing a project called Komo, road project from Komo to Agajaiba village. It's a 13-kilometer stretch. There is a old Kiap road. Like Deputy Governor said, there's about 6,000 people living over there. There's a school and aid post and all that. And I've got no access by road. So building this road, this was committed in 2005 by Sir Moyabe when he was Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Petroleum. It has taken us this period to eventually come up with the project, and the signing between the three companies are basically putting the three landowner companies from Kutubu, Mananda and Heights to pool their resources and finance and technology to build that road. So we are into supporting our landowner companies and also looking at whether the synergies are and pull them all together. And going forward, we want to see that landowner companies do cooperate and pool their resources together and be able to work, move away from land ownership and boundaries and turf fighting to promoting business as a and work together as a businessman and promote business. So this is the start of trying to work all the landowner groups to be able to see business differently, work together, pool their resources and pool their resources and money, and be able to stand up against other bigger companies that are in play in the area. So this basically signing signifies the three landowner companies working together in delivering this project.
Expected to be completed by the end of 2015, this road, which has to cross 4 rivers, will bring many benefits to the people of Ajacaiba as well as the communities between there and Como Station. Having good road access ensures that basic government health, law and order and education services can easily reach these villages. Economic benefits also flow from the road, providing the means to easily transport goods to and agricultural produce from villages in the Mananda area.
The main purpose or the bottom line of me bringing my team to the table to help build that road is to make sure that that road is built to the end of the mountains, to give access to our people that has always allowed the Mananda oil to flow through the pipes to the Agogo facility area. Their mothers, kids, the school children, the register owners, coffee owners, pig owners, they all they live up there. It's highly populated. So we came on board, as I said, to help facilitate and to bring the resources that we have, man, machinery, to push this road to the bottom of the mountain there, to give access to our unfortunate people that live along the road and at the foot of that mountain. So we are here to give service to the people, and that is one of our obligations as a corporate citizen in the community. And the other is to make money as much as we can to return to the shareholders. But the primary objective of us joining up with Kudmo, with All Search and MUJV is push that road to where it's needed and where it matters. And we would like to contribute as much as we can to the construction of this very road. And the team from All Search, thank you very much for hearing the cries of our people at the back over there to give them access to services that are not there in Como, to say Tari or Mendi, or connected to the rest of our people in the highlands.
With its partnership with landowner companies in constructing the Como to Ajacaiba Road, All Search once again displays its continued support and commitment to rural development in parts of the country where the company is operating. And with the construction of this road, direct employment will be created for the local people involved in this work and provide a useful income for the landowner companies involved. Furthermore, the road will give communities in this part of Hela province access to the rest of the country for social, business and other services. More of Resource PNG when we return. Thanks for staying with us. The Mineral Resources Authority, MRA, was established in 2007. Its prime responsibility is to ensure that the Mining Act and associated legislation come into effect. We now take a look at this report on MRA. The Mineral Resources Authority of Papua New Guinea is a state-owned, self-funded entity which was established in 2007 in order to carry out its mandate independently. MRA's functions were previously under the Department of Mining. The Papua New Guinea government first initiated the concept in 2005 to divide the regulatory responsibilities from the policy aspect. Therefore, MRA came into existence 2 years after. Since its inception, MRA has achieved satisfactory results. As a regulator, MRA's primary responsibility ensures that the Mining Act and the associated legislations are given effect to and are dealt with efficiently and in a timely manner for the exploration and mining sectors.
The turnaround time it takes for us to service the mining sector and the exploration sector is within days. Getting our people on the plane just to fly off to Lihir, to fly off to Wafi, and to attend to issues on the ground. That's, to me, if you're going to measure the institution by anything, I think it's a turnaround time to service its client. And the MRA has been able to demonstrate that we've been able to respond to our clients, particularly the exploration and the mining sector, within a number of days. Like I said, within hours to get on a plane. If you compare that to previously, we had to wait on the companies to ferry us on the plane, accommodate us on site. That took a lot of, and that did, put us in a very compromising position. Whereas today, we are financially secure. We brought in the best people out there in order to assist the government deal with the requirements of the sector. So, the first thing that comes to mind is, how have you been able to respond to your clients? And I think one of the biggest achievements is that we've been able to respond to our clients in real time. One of our biggest business, probably our primary business, is in servicing mining tenements, whether it's an exploration application, exploration license application, whether it's a lease for alluvial purposes, whether it's a mining lease application. So long as there is a tenement application being applied for, being submitted, being amended, this place gets into motion to service that. One of our biggest achievements in the area of attending to mining tenements has been how we've dealt with the backlog. This place has been in 7 short years. When we started, we had a backlog 5 years long. Today, we're dealing with applications that land on the table. And for us, it's business as usual after 7 years. And I think for me, that's a commendable achievement to date.
Another major achievement for MRA is the setting up of a mineral tenement management system, which will be launched by October this year.
We are being assisted with kind assistance under the World Bank. We've contracted a company out of South Africa, Flexi Cadesta. Their system has been used around the world, and we have a system on trial currently. And if anybody cares to get onto the MRA website, they can see what's in store right now. What does that do? It actually does wonders. For 38 years, this country has managed people's security, companies' security, their international investors' security, millions of money, billions, on a piece of paper. This system will come in and simply change all of that and provide greater security to tenure. That is key. For 38 years, we've held people's assets on paper, sitting in drawers in government offices. By October, all of that would be history. We would have a world-class system, second to none. And again, we would be probably the latest country rolling it out. One of a few countries rolling it out by the time it comes live in October. I think that's a milestone worth celebrating. We hold it on Excel sheets, we hold it on MS Access databases, and it's open to the public. Taking a lot of risk for 38 years. October this year, we should be doing well.
We continue this report after the break. Welcome back to Resource PNG. We continue our report on MRA.
Some of the other things that we've been able to manage and deal with is, and as you're aware, in PNG, it's just not enough to just get a piece of paper from the minister telling you, congratulations, here's a mining lease, you can now operate. Our people are very real people. You can get a license from the government, but you need a social license to operate. And that takes a lot of work. And I can confidently vouch that with the setup of the MRA, we've been able to deal comprehensively with landowner issues, with social issues, attending to them 24/7. We have a large division in this place called the Development Coordination Division. Every operating mine has a project coordinator, 24/7 on call. Every advanced exploration project, Frida, Yandera, Wafi, has an exploration coordinator, 24/7. These people have to attend to these projects on a daily basis, weekly basis, managing issues on the ground, and such that we've been able to. You can't deal with everything at once, but if you can identify what the main issues are, you satisfy that, the chances that you'll be able to solve 60% of the issues, is very real. Given our experience, we have been able to bring many of these issues to the fore and to deal with them. Many of these people's expectations sit within MOAs, mining project MOAs. You see a lot of landowners coming in here, creating noise out there. That's because their expectations, the benefits that are derived from these mines are wrapped in those MOAs. Yeah? Our people are serious when it comes to reviewing the MOAs, such that 7 years of non-stop working for our landowners, we've been able to deliver one fully executed MOA, which is the Ramu one, December last year. Ramu has been around for some time. We've been able to fully review and execute that MOA. Last year, the MRA said it's an ambitious target. We are going to review all eight project MOAs. Okay, hey, if you know what it takes to deliver MOAs, that's not an attainable situation. But we had to do it. If you don't do it, you don't get it done. All MOAs were up for review last year. We've been able to deliver one, which is Ramu. Yeah, fully executed. We've been able to prepare one Sinibit and Simberi and the Octedi MOAs for submission to NEC. That's the process where if the NEC says yes, we sign 3 more by next quarter. Then you have the Pogara one and the Lihir one hanging out there. These are 2 big ones. The state team has already strategized. We've gone and met the landowners once, or the parties once. We now know what it takes to close the deal before the end of this year. The way I see it, before the year ends, we would have signed off on another 3. I am confident that we can deliver for government another 3 fully executed MOAs. That brings to a total of 4 MOAs fully executed. Again, never done before. Yeah, but this is all because of the government's wisdom to set up an institution that could be, in some sense, autonomous in its financing, autonomous in its recruitment. So we're able to bring in the best people, able to give them the tools to, do our job, to be left alone to do it. That's the best part of it. So for me, looking back in the short 7 years, we've been able to deliver for government what the government itself, through the various institutions prior to MRA, not been able to deliver. Yeah. And we're looking forward to, the challenges ahead. We have a number of mines in the pipeline. We have Frida, we have Wafi, we have Marengo. The latest one that will come on stream is Woodluck. The operator is Kulago. We have a mining lease application before us as I speak to you. So that would be the first mine to be permitted by government this year. So if you look at our profile over the next 7 to 10 years, we have world-class operations stepped up, and that's the next crop of mines. And so we now, the MRA now needs to put its attention on this, pipeline of projects, advanced projects, in order to bring them on stream within the next 7 to 10 years at least. And of course the LNG will be up and running, but the government will still require mines to be producing. So for us, the next 10 years is very clear. We will continue what we have started, and we will continue to bring these mines that are in the pipeline into production. Whether we bring them into production or whether we bring them to an advanced stage of permitting, statutory approvals, I think that would be great. That would do us wonders. And so we're looking forward to the next 7 years. There's a whole lot of things in store. The government, as you know, is now reviewing its primary legislation, the Mining Act, the Mining Policy, Mining Safety Act, and also introducing additional policy, resettlement, offshore mining, and a whole host of others. So, next 7 years will definitely be an eventful year, operating on a new platform. The Mining Act 1992, as we currently know, maybe before the end of this year, would be no more. Right? That's if the government does pass the revised Mining Act that the Department of Mineral Policy is working on. And so we, as a regulator and an implementer, we're looking forward to pick up that new act as and when it comes into operation and start rolling it out in the exploration and mining space.
We'll be back with more of the show after these short messages. Welcome back to Resource PNG. We continue our report on MRA. MRA has its fair share of challenges. One of the initial challenges was the setup of the authority itself. There were doubts if MRA was going to deliver for the government what it was proposed to do. There were also comments about the MRA board, questioning the impartiality of its board members, who were members of mining companies and Chamber of Mines.
I will respect the views of people. The MRA board does not recommend to the minister for grant of this license, that license. It is a totally government body called the Mining Advisory Council, of which I am the chairman, that deals with these matters. And we're totally devoid from the MRA body. Absolutely, totally devoid. I hope that provides some comfort to, the public. The other challenge is bringing in people and keeping them. We had to also compete with the industry. There's been downturn and people have been coming in looking for good people. And public servants are competent people. You give them an opportunity, you give them the tools out there, they will fly with it. So people have been, they've taken offers elsewhere. The challenge is creating an environment to, keep these people and to provide them terms and conditions that are competitive. The management team have started putting together our thoughts around, our corporate plan 2014 to 2018. The current corporate plan we're operating on is from 2008 to last year, 2013. What we want to be able to do in the years to come is the tenement management system that I've just mentioned is priority to us. That whatever it takes has to be fully operational by October this year. So that's one of the first things we want to be able to put our minds on, to be able to get done. The other thing we need to do is part of our role requires us to map the country. We have a fully staffed geological survey division here, and so we are mapping out certain regions of the country. That mapping exercise is very important. It provides detailed information on the country's mineral prospectivity. Yeah. And that's what investors look for when they come here. They pick up that map, and they read it, they look at what's available and make an investment decision. In the absence of those maps, in the absence of an active geological program, nobody will be fronting up, at our shores here. So we have a number of active mapping projects that are currently on. We have the Waubulolo area. We are also flying an airborne geophysical survey between the PNG Indonesian border. Okay, and in order to fly the border area, both the Papua New Guinea government and the Indonesian government have to agree for us to fly it, because we're flying it right over the border, So we are in advanced discussions with the Indonesian government on signing off on an MOU in order to get that work done along the border. If you remember, we've had the European Union program over the last 5 years, and that program flew the Highlands area and the Owen Stanley Ranges. And that data set is now fully available at a minimum cost here, and it's been creating a lot of expectations and a lot of interest, such that we've had a steady increase in the number of exploration license applications over the last four years. And so now we want to fly the border area that's not been flown. It is fully funded by the MRA in excess of 10 million kina, and the program will commence in the second quarter, and by the end of the year we should have the results of that available, for public consumption. Whoever wants it and is interested. Once we have that done, we are in the process of discussions with the World Bank on funding an airborne similar exercise flying the New Guinea Islands, including Bougainville. Once we've flown that, the whole country would have been covered. And for this, we're looking at the next 3 years to cover the whole country. And also not only on land, we've got extensive tenements offshore as well. So we will be looking at selective areas in order to also do a similar exercise on the seafloor areas as well. And once you have that data set, you have just about everything you need to sell the country. And that, if you are able to package it properly and to deliver what the clients require, business should pick up back in the country, and we should see a host of interest, coming back through the exploration sector. One of the things that the MRA will be attending to this year is actually delivering for the country a medium-term development strategy that gives effect to the core deliverables sitting within the current MTDS and the Vision 2050. Without that plan, right, there is no way of you knowing how to get there. And so the MRA this year will definitely be rolling out a strategic plan on how to deliver for government its strategies within the current medium-term development plan, as well as the Vision 2050. Something we haven't done, the government hasn't done, and we will be delivering that this year.
That brings us to the end of this edition of Resource PNG. If you have any comments or queries, do email us on this address, resourcepng@mtv.com.pg, or to find out more, check MTV online. That's www.mtv.com.pg, and go to our Resource PNG page. Or you can check our page on Facebook. Thanks for your company. Bye for now.